you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are do you affirm that the testimony you are presenting is to be true and accurate?
I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Jorde.
Thank you, and thank you for the flexibility. Ms. Lavelle, I understand you've traveled from the East Coast. I would offer exhibits from 244 through 256, and again, that's Ms. Lavelle's typewritten testimony plus all of her attachments.
Any objections?
No objection.
I have an addition. I had a...
One second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, 1 second. So seeing no objections, we will...
And then, Ms. Lavelle, do you have any corrections, items that need to be corrected to any of that? Okay. All right.
I do have, as far as additions to that testimony, I assume this is where I should let you know that I have, I did submit something about my building permit. Has that been mentioned?
You know what? I'll check if that was uploaded as a hearing exhibit, but if not, probably when it comes back around to me, I'll ask you about that. All right, so...
And also, sorry. Second thing is, this may be the time to present, because everything was so last minute and because my tenant is in a combine, has been for the last several days. I mean, he's in it from dawn till after dark. So I've been trying to get him to submit what my tile map is, because I have a map and I have it in the, presented for the newer 2004 tile map. But finally this morning I got the additions from the older ones, and it's really important. I mean, I have it here, but I know this is last minute. But I need to add additions to that tile map that's on here. So when you look at this testimony, at some point later you go, oh, nothing down in this lower corner, and that's the older tile, and that's the stuff that really is going to be impacted by this pipeline. So I really need to bring that up to discuss that, so you have a good feel for where the tile is on this property. Very important to me. I mean, tile is huge. Without tile, I can't farm. And then I hear Mr. Ellingson in testimony say, well, we don't make any money coming back. To me, you don't make any money coming back. You have no incentive to come back. So I'm really concerned that this tile is pegged and corrected, because nobody is going to put this land back the way the glaciers deposited it. On this property, it's kind of a high spot. Everything drains off around it. You cut through this glacier deposit, you're going to have completely new areas of wetness in this. this area that cannot be predicted because this land, the tile was designed as it is now, not to be regraded. That bothers me to no end. So you come in here, rip through this farm, you're going to have new areas of wetness that wasn't wet before. Well, Summit is going to say, no, we repair the tile, which is very convenient. It's like a doctor. They bury their mistakes. Well, so do pipeline companies. I don't know what's going to be going on here. And then Ellingson says, sorry, I'll slow down. I don't make money coming back. I mean, this is a huge concern. This is a concern for everybody back here, I am certain. And my drainage district, where this pipeline is going to go, this is 5,000 acres. So it's going to cut through it. This is 5,000 acres.
So, Mr. Jorde, so to get back to the original exhibit of her tile map, would you like to have our staff make a copy of that map so she can use it in the redirect?
Ma'am, do you have a copy of that map with you? You said you brought it.
I do.
Yeah, that was a great suggestion.
Okay.
This gentleman will make a copy.
I'm going to put my name on it?
That's fine.
Oh, I have it on it. Thank you.
And while he's doing that, if we could just pull up the portion of your testimony to be corrected, and that would be page 303 of Ms. Lavalle's pre-file testimony.
That's it.
Yeah, so hold on just one second, just because we want to set the stage. So what we're looking at here is a hand-drawn best guesstimate of tile maps and then length of tiles that you pre-filed, but now you want to correct that with better, more accurate information.
Yes, this is not drawn to scale. When this was done, it looks like 40 acres. This isn't 40 acres, this is 80 acres. So I stretched it out to show, and this is 2004 tile lines, and I added the current lines. I mean, there's probably some older tile on here, but this is what I can document, and this is what the pipeline is going to cut through. And I've spoken with my tenants about it. They are incredibly concerned about this. They say that they want to be out there. They say we have to be out there. My concern is when this pipeline goes through, they're going to say, oh, safety, you got to get back. These guys have been farming this since the 80s. I mean, these are tenants that are like family. I'm worried for their safety. I don't know, how can I let them go out on this property after this bomb is buried in it? And I know it's not a big explosion bomb, but the effect is the same. They're going to rip this land, have to, after the pipeline goes through. I mean, this is low till, no till. They worked really hard. They're really good guys to increase the productivity. So now they're going to have to rip it. Productivity is going to go down. It's going to mess up their yields. It's going to mess up their insurance. I mean, there's no end to the damage that this thing is going to do. And I hear Mr. Skovanec say, well, stopping construction is not just for the inspectors. This is a collaborative effort. Work together. Well, Baloney, even DeGioia said that this should be the sole authority of the inspectors. He said it was a huge value. So to not let these inspectors do their job, and Skovanec also said, you can't stop construction just because the land is saturated. You can't stop construction until fall, like it's not going to rain in the fall. You can't wait. You can't halt and wait. I mean, he didn't say this exact term, but you can't stop construction. Construction must continue. Well, baloney. I mean, this land has been in my family for 3 generations. You better stop it, and the inspectors better have sole authority to be out there. I mean, have something behind them to stop this thing, or we're going to have Dakota all over again. They didn't stop in Dakota. Why are they going to stop now? Please help me.
So now that we've got your updated, corrected tile map passed around, and I guess just for purposes of the record, Janet Miller is the landowner of the 40 acres immediately to the south, and that's your sister?
Correct, and that's something also that I should clarify. This is a 3-generation farm. It's 80 acres. My mother passed away in 2019, so we initiated the plan for development of this property. And to do that, she was disabled, severely disabled in a car accident, and she's pretty much housebound. She can't be here to testify. She's had pre-filed testimony. But she's sitting there, she's scared to death. This pipeline is, maybe 400 feet when it angles by the house. So everybody's right now thinking, well, she can move. It's not as easy for somebody who's disabled. And this house is very important to us because my grandfather, when they bought this property, he took his tractor and his wagon, he went a mile up the road, and he offloaded the lumber and the building materials for this house. Came back to the property, put it in the chicken house, let it season, and he didn't hire a contractor. He and my grandmother built it. I know so many stories about this house. My mother and father helped build it. Family built it. I wouldn't trade this house for anything in the world, and I don't want my sister to have to move out of it. She's disabled. She's crippled. And now the only income she has is this 40 acres, and they want to cripple it too. So she's living in the bottom half. In the estate, we divided it so she could own that, live in the house. And then I would own the top property with the plan that I could build a house there. I planned to come back to the Iowa 30 years ago. My husband and I both grew up and went to school in the same homeroom in Iowa Falls. And he promised me we'd come back as soon as he retired. Well, he's retiring January 1st of this year. So we're making plans. I talked to the zoning people a few years ago. We set up the division of the property, the estate this way. I've got a driveway right where I need it to be. I mean, this is only 40 acres. I don't have the ability to move further away from this pipeline. And now and my sister's watching her. I gotta tell her I can't live next to her to help her if she's in trouble. And she's not getting any better. I mean, she's housebound.
So ma'am, if we can just close kind of the loop on the tile. Essentially, the diagram that has been now copied and passed around, it shows that there are actually multiple tile lines in the area where the proposed easement would come into your property and then exit your sister's 40, correct?
Correct.
And that is a correction from the previous map on page 303 that failed to show those additional tile lines, correct?
Correct.
All right, so what I would do now then, I would also, Your Honor, offer Debra Lavalle hearing exhibit the updated tile map.
Any objections to that? Seeing none, we will admit this exhibit.
I think it would be 588 is what I show.
And that's what we were trying to figure out, what number we would give this. So we'll assign 588 to this one. All right. Mr. Jorde?
Yep. With that, ma'am, I'm going to tender you for cross. Some other folks may have questions of you, okay?
Okay.
Ms. Ryan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. I want to, I read through your direct testimony and I've heard what you just described right now, and I'm still not entirely certain I understand the ownership structure. So I want to make sure that that's clear for the record, because, with the tile diagram, it's 2 40-acre sections and you own one and your sister owns the other. In your testimony, you said that the tenant owns half of the land.
No, there must be an error there.
Okay. When did you first find out about this pipeline project?
The problem is, I found out from my sister. No one from Summit has ever contacted me. I mean, no one. And I waited for him too. She said, she called me, she told me about the project. Some fellow had come to her door. So I waited for him to call me. I even went out and bought a recorder and put it next to the phone, thinking I better, keep this accurate. No call. The only information I've gotten about this pipeline is what I've learned from the Iowa Utility Board, what I've learned from meetings, what I've learned from newspapers and articles. I mean, I've researched every week, and my sister has even more. I think she's worn herself out doing it. And I'm worried about her health. I think it may have impacted her health. She can't be here to defend herself. And I wanted to be here in person, but virtual testimony for people who really can't be here, it's critical. It really is. Did I answer your question? I got off track.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right. So did you ever hear anything from Summit?
Never. Never. And the only other person in the house who would have listened for phone calls, seen emails, when I saw the exhibit, was it L5? The exhibit that came to the IUB board showed contact information. I probably got the wrong number. I mean, I went directly to him, and he looked at it, and he said, well, this is a complete fabrication. Nobody has ever contacted me. I don't know what, I see email, and I went back to try to corroborate, because I do junk mail. I delete it one at a time. So does my husband. We would have seen it. It's not there.
So you're talking about the list of
Yes.
that Summit provided of
Correct.
that it says it made contact with you.
Correct.
Okay.
Because I sat and waited, and I think, well, should I contact them? But the ownership is for them to contact me. Nothing on the phone. I tried to match the dates to the phone. Nothing there. Landline, I screened my calls. But any credible business would call a number and say, this is Summit, give their name, give a return phone number. I mean, something. And I could speculate why they haven't. I mean, I've been kind of vocal about it. I've educated myself. I've written multiple letters to the editor, because I've written multiple submissions to the Iowa Utility Board. I contacted over 80 people in Hardin County. So when this first came out, and I saw the map from the Iowa Utility Board, with that big red line that just kind of went through Hardin County, I overlaid it on the screen to try and figure out where it was going through, talk to people, try to figure out who wants this and who doesn't. And to say that 78% of the signed easements, these people are wanting to host the pipeline, is just baloney. I mean, even before eminent domain was brought up, with recent pipelines, the Dakota pipeline in particular, we all knew the game. We all knew eminent domain was coming at us. So I'm waiting for somebody to call me. I'm curious, even if I don't think I want to sign, because I'm letting down my sister. I'm curious what they'd offer me, and I got nothing. I mean, nothing.
Did you receive any mailings from the Utilities Board this summer?
I've got a lot of propaganda. I mean, I educated myself. I read Iowa Code to know that if you accept a restricted certified letter, that they can go onto your properties to survey. Well, I didn't want to do that. You see all this lawsuits start to fly, and you don't know what to do. But I don't want to make a mistake because there's no going back if I sign for something. So I have not signed for anything. I've gotten propaganda. I've opened that. I got the eminent domain notice from the law office in Des Moines. But I mean, that's it.
Can we pull up the KMZ?
Ms. Lavelle, I just remind you, as we've got this KMZ map as you describe your property.
Yeah.
Again, if you can just like be as descriptive as you can with the words, just for the record. That is so helpful. Thank you.
I'll try my best. Okay, so here, I actually did upload a video of the property because here, you know, it's, I had planned to use that existing, let's see, where am I here? There we go. Where'd it go? Sorry here. Technical difficulties. There we go. Oh, okay. I figured it out. This driveway right here, I don't have to build a driveway. This is where I wanted to live, right here.
That's
I
in
mean,
the
right,
southwest corner of your...
yeah, oh, I'm sorry,
parcel.
yes. Where it crosses, right by that driveway, and that is the southwest corner. Right where the pipeline's going across the road. So this is my property, the red one. Here's a cattle feed operation. I can't live here. I don't want to live next to that. If I go back further, I mean, I'm cutting the farm in half because this farm is farmed by the same guys here. Can't cut the farm in half. I don't want to destroy the productivity of this land. But if I sign an easement, I can't live here. I mean, these are the neighbors I grew up with. Both sides, up and down S55. These are the same people who lived there when I was a kid. I mean, it's like, it's going home. It's people that I can count on, that I've known all my life. There's no other place in the world I want to build but right there. And I cannot do it, and I'm going to let my sister down if I'm not able to. Because I cannot live there with a bomb in my backyard. Or who knows, whatever this thing will turn into at some point. I have no crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen within the future. Nobody does. Best guess, but I'm not going to guess.
Can we zoom out a teeny bit on the map? Okay, so down, I assume immediately below your property, immediately to the south of your property is where your sister's share is.
Correct.
And then the house at the southwest corner of that smaller piece is where your sister lives.
Right there.
And you said your grandparents built that house?
Yeah, they went up this road, S55, going north next to the west side of that house, went up to railroad tracks, offloaded it, brought it back down, and put it together.
Do you know what year or years that was?
Yes, that was 1958. Single pane windows. The summer when the wildfires in Canada were going on, you could smell the smoke in the house. It comes right in. The wind blows through this house. I mean, it's got 1958 insulation.
Is it a single story or two story?
It's a single story. And the term that comes to mind, with her sitting in there, with this pipeline there, is Mr. Creighton's term of her being unsalvageable. I mean, God forbid this pipeline ruptures here. She can't get out. She doesn't drive. She can't even if it happens further away and she's got some time to get out, she can't. She's a sitting duck. She would be unsalvageable if God forbid this would happen.
Would she even be able to move to an interior room?
Yes, she could, but
How much time would that take?
In a panic, there really is no interior room. I mean, it's a ranch, center hallway. The rooms are around that. There's no interior room.
And I see there's some buildings across the road as well. What are those buildings?
There's a new house right there, just west of her property.
And then just south of that building, is there another house there?
Yes, there's another house in the center of the trees right about there.
Have you, by chance, talked with the people who live on those properties?
I've talked with the ones directly west. He submitted an objection to the pipeline, but when I talked to him, he said, I don't want a sign. It's going to ruin my pattern tile, but I have to. I cannot fight Bruce Rastetter. You say that name and you just panic everybody. Because this is, Hardin County is where he is from, is where his huge estate is. And it intimidated this fellow, I can tell you that for sure. Because I talked to him. He did not want to, but he said, I'm going to have to. And
so that's the person who owns the land immediately to the west of your 40 acres?
correct.
Okay. If we could take a look now at the tile map.
Could I make one more comment about this here?
Yeah.
I think I'm confused about it. I up a little bit. Yeah. I don't understand this. I mean, originally, gosh, I'm afraid I'll hit this in your eyes. Look down. Originally it came right here. It came from this fella signed, so it was right about here. No, this fella signed, excuse me. See how it was going to go straight there? That's where it was going to go. So I'm going, just for reference, where the pipeline is now, headed in a northerly direction, it was a straight line. This fella signed an easement, and it's shown on Iowa land records with this going straight. So then, I believe because maybe there's a main here, this started moving over, and this distance decreased. So now you got this goofy turn here. I mean, look, multiple goofy turns as it's going north across D15, continuing north. So this landowner signed. So they've got two different entrances into the property on Iowa land records. And my understanding is, well, they can't, once they sign that easement, it's set in stone. Well, apparently not. So they're going to have to change it on this fella, and it is still on the records as going straight and then going here. They don't match.
I can't explain that. Actually, before we leave the KMZ, can we just real quickly measure the distance between her sister's house and the pipeline?
Yeah. Let me point to the house so you know. That's right there.
Can you read it?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's, I kind of can. 903, if I'm looking right. Somebody with better eyes, let me know if I'm wrong.
Yep, it's 903.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, now let's go to the tile map.
Okay.
I see some of these in here are labeled as 5-inch tile.
Correct.
The ones that don't have a label as to their size, are those older tiles?
Those are newer. Those are 2004.
Okay. And what size are they?
I don't have that. I asked the contractor that put it in, and I didn't get that information.
Okay. And in a few spots, there are places where the lines are dashes instead of a solid line. What does that indicate?
Existing line, if my memory is correct.
Okay. And then, so then the solid pieces in between it are the new parts connecting that?
Correct.
Okay. And so the pieces then that are labeled with the 5-inch and 8-inch and 6-inch, those are the older pieces?
Correct.
Do you know when that was installed?
It's before my memory, so it's been decades. I couldn't tell you exactly when.
Do you happen to know how deep it is?
I don't.
Do you know how deep the newer tile is?
I couldn't find that out either. When I asked my tenants, they said they thought it was about 4 feet deep. That was their best guess. And they're pretty good. but I'm so concerned. I mean, I worked for the tile company that put this tile in. I worked with my dad, who was a soil conservationist, so I know these folks. And I know they're going to go somewhere where there's a pattern tile first before they come back where there's a hazardous pipeline and, you know, and now a new wet area because the land has been disrupted for a small project. If I can get somebody in, I'll be kind of surprised, and it sure won't be any hurry. And I'm not even talking about Ellingson. I'm talking about the new wet area that both my tenants said, yeah, you're going to have problems because you cannot put back what the glaciers brought in. You can't. It cannot be done.
Do you know, does any of these tile lines connect to a county drainage district?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
State your objection.
Again, these are not cross-examination questions. This is just additional direct. We're asking, I guess, on behalf of Miss Bulvania Hirth, who has a father with a property in Montgomery County. We're asking detailed questions to this witness with a property in Hardin County about the tile system on her property. I just don't see how this is cross-examination, attempting to, I guess, call into question anything in her direct testimony.
Well, she just updated the tile map today, and I think it's important to get the information about that tile map into the record so we know what we're looking at.
Again, it's not cross-examination, and I believe we've been through the newly updated or newly uploaded tile map.
So I'm going to overrule this. And Ms. Ryan, if
This was my last line of inquiry
Yeah,
about
no,
the
that's
tiles.
fine.
So, yeah.
it is new, and I'll let you continue with that. Thank you.
So going back to the question, do you know if any of these tiles connect to county or drainage district tile?
I can show where the drainage district tile is. I mean, this, you know, it's high in the middle. It drains down. So there's not a lot of drainage district tile here. But because I've worked with tile contractors, I know where this thing is going. And it is going into land where it's incredibly unstable. They could not keep the tile down. Once you get out of this, the farmer couldn't even farm the land. It's now county wetland, Hardin County wetland. I mean, it's so wet, and it gets sandy, and the people I worked with, the tile would heave in this sandy, so they could not keep the tile down. My dad always thought at some point there's going to need to be an open ditch through here because they had so much trouble with unstable soil. Not here, but when it shoots into the drainage district, they're going to have problems. So we're all going to have problems in this drainage district.
Can you identify where on the map that would be?
And I've got it right here. Okay, make sure I get it right. Okay. So, sorry, there's a main coming in here.
And that's the southeast corner right
Southeast
below
corner.
where it has your sister's name on the image.
Correct. A small stub there comes in. Let's see, and there's a lateral that comes. Let's see. Could you move that up just a little bit, that map? Just for the lower corner, the lower right corner here. Yeah, a little more. So I don't, yeah, up high. Just, can it go up higher? I mean, this way. So I can see the bottom right corner. You can even make it a little, okay, let me get this right. It's coming in right here. It's branching here, and it's branching here.
Okay, so basically where that dashed line is on the southeast corner.
Yeah, there's a lateral coming from here, northwest, right up to that dotted line. There's also a lateral coming down here. That is for this drainage district over here, which is, 1,000+ acres. So then, as far as where it's, okay, you can make the map smaller and pull down. So this other one is It's connecting here. And that's going into a 5,000 acre unstable soil drainage district.
Okay, and that's the curved line that exits right around the center. If we're looking north to south, it's right around the center.
Right. To the best of my knowledge, that would be in that area, so that must connect there.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And there's another one up in the northeast corner, but that's not impacted by the pipeline.
All right.
Tiny stub. It's tiny stubs that come in on the corners where we were talking about.
That's all the questions I have, Your Honor.
Great, thank you, Mr. Whippel. Oh, just a second. Oh, that's right. All right, I forgot. We have a tech issue that they need to restart a piece of equipment. So we just need to give technology like 3 to 5 minutes because they got to restart